In an age of gods and men, two worlds stood on the edge of destiny. One was the vast Persian Empire, a juggernaut of power, seemingly unyielding and unstoppable. The other a small city-state nestled in the rugged hills of Greece, a place called Sparta, whose people knew no fear. This is not just a tale of victory or defeat. It is a story of courage that defied an empire. A legend forged in blood and fire that would echo through eternity. Under the rule of the mighty King Xerxes, Persia was a world power unlike any seen before. Its dominion stretched from the sun-scorched plains of India to the fertile banks of the Nile in Egypt. Millions marched at his command, and his will was law. To Xerxes, Greece was a minor annoyance, a rebellious corner of his vast map that needed to be brought to heel. But the Greeks, scattered and quarrelsome as they were, possessed something the Persians could never truly conquer: a fierce love for their freedom. Xerxes, seeking to avenge a past defeat and expand his empire, gathered an army of unprecedented size. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers from every corner of his realm and a fleet of over 1,000 warships set sail across the Aegean. Their destination, Greece. Their mission, total subjugation. The sheer scale of this force was meant to inspire terror, to make the Greeks surrender without a fight. But they had underestimated the spirit of one particular city-state. In Sparta, life was war. It was the air they breathed, the purpose of their existence. From the age of 7, boys were taken from their families and entered the agoge, a brutal training regimen designed to forge them into the world's finest soldiers. They were taught discipline, endurance, and the art of combat. They learned to endure pain without complaint, to face any hardship with stoic resolve. Spartan women were just as formidable, raising their sons to be warriors. The famous farewell, "Come back with your shield," or on it, was not a cliché. It was a sacred duty. It meant return victorious or die trying. In this city of warriors, fear was a stranger, and death in battle was the highest, most glorious honor a man could achieve. Their society was a finely tuned machine, geared for a single purpose: to create the ultimate soldier. When Persia's emissaries arrived, demanding earth and water, the universal symbols of submission, most Greek city-states hesitated, paralyzed by fear. The sheer size of Xerxes' army seemed insurmountable, but Leonidas, one of the two kings of Sparta, would not bow. He understood that to surrender was to lose everything that made them Greek. An oracle had prophesied that either Sparta would be destroyed or a Spartan king must die. Knowing this, Leonidas made his choice. He could not take the full Spartan army due to a religious festival, so he chose 300 of his personal guard, the Hippes. Each man was a veteran, and crucially, each had a living son to carry on his family line. With this small band of elite warriors, and a few thousand brave allies from other Greek cities, Leonidas marched north. Their destination was a narrow coastal pass called Thermopylae, a name that meant the Hot Gates. It was here, in this natural bottleneck, that a handful of free men would make their stand to stop an empire. At Thermopylae, the narrow pass, barely wide enough for a single wagon, became their fortress. The sea crashed on one side, and impassable cliffs rose on the other. It was the perfect choke point, rendering Persia's numerical superiority almost meaningless. Xerxes, confident in his numbers, waited for 4 days, expecting the tiny Greek force to see sense and flee. They did not. On the 5th day, he ordered the attack. The first wave crashed against the Spartan phalanx like water against rock. The Medes, elite troops of the Persian army, charged forward, but the wall of bronze shields and long spears held firm. The Spartans, packed shoulder to shoulder, were an unbreakable unit. They fought with a discipline and fury the Persians had never encountered. When one Spartan fell, another stepped forward to take his place. For 2 long, bloody days, the cycle repeated. Xerxes sent his best troops, including his own elite guard, the legendary Immortals, into the fray. But wave after wave was repulsed, broken upon the Spartan shields. The ground became slick with blood, the pile of bodies a gruesome testament to Greek defiance. The Persians expected to find fear in the eyes of their opponents. They found only a cold, unyielding resolve. Every thrust of a Spartan spear, every clash of shield on shield, echoed through history. The 300 were not just fighting for their lives, they were fighting for the future of Greece, for the very idea of freedom itself. As the final dawn approached, the remaining Spartans knew what awaited them. Surrounded and vastly outnumbered, there was no realistic hope of survival. But for these warriors, hope was a luxury, not a necessity. Their purpose was clear. In the flickering firelight, King Leonidas addressed his men, his voice steady and resolute. He told them, "Eat well, my brothers, for tonight we dine in hell." It was a promise not of defeat, but of a glorious end. But in the shadows, a betrayal was unfolding that would seal their fate. A local man, Ephialtes, driven by greed or grievance, slipped into the opulent tent of the Persian king, Xerxes. He revealed a secret mountain path, a hidden trail that bypassed the heavily defended pass. His Persian scouts moved silently through the mist and shadows under the cover of darkness. The strategic chokehold the Spartans had maintained was broken. The end was now inevitable, but the courage of those holding the line remained unshaken. When the sun rose, the Persians swarmed from both front and rear, completely surrounding the last of the Spartan ranks. A desperate, brutal fight ensued. Blood and dust filled the air, as Leonidas and his men fought with a fury that stunned their enemies. In one final defiant act, Leonidas hurled his spear with all his remaining strength. It flew true, grazing the face of the self-proclaimed god-king Xerxes, a symbolic wound against tyranny itself. But then the arrows came. A storm of them, raining down from the sky, and one by one, the last of the Spartans fell. Leonidas was struck down, his body falling beneath a hail of Persian arrows. He was gone, but his stand had already become the stuff of legend. The Persians had won the pass, but at a tremendous cost. More importantly, they had lost something intangible, yet vital: their aura of invincibility. The world had witnessed what a few free men, fighting for their homeland, could accomplish against overwhelming odds. The defeat was a tactical loss, but a monumental strategic victory. The sacrifice at Thermopylae was not in vain. It lit a fire that spread like wildfire across the disparate city-states of Greece. The story of the 300's bravery galvanized them, forging a unity they had never known before. For the first time, they stood together as one. At the naval battle of Salamis, their united fleet, though smaller, outmaneuvered and crushed the mighty Persian navy. On the fields of Plataea, their combined armies finished the job, decisively defeating the Persian land forces and driving them out of Greece for good. The world's first great experiment in democracy had survived, its foundations sealed with the blood and bravery of those who refused to bow. Today, if you visit the pass of Thermopylae, you will find a statue of Leonidas standing guard. The wind whispers across the ancient stones, carrying tales of valor. In modern Sparta, children play freely in the streets. The legacy of the 300 is not just a story of a battle, it's a timeless lesson. They taught the world that freedom is never free. It has a price, and courage is the currency used to pay it. Empires will always rise and fall, monuments will crumble to dust, but the echo of honor, that is eternal. It never dies. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more tales of history's greatest heroes.